Welcome to the Sparky Coach podcast. This platform was built by Sparkies for Sparkies. We simply exist to make business owners more profitable, or businesses more profitable and more predictable. So we want to work with people that work hard because we love working hard too, that work smart because you got to be on top of the business, people that are kind because no one likes a dickhead. Am I right? People who want results because that's what we're here for, right? And people who want to be part of a like-minded community. So if you're interested in hearing more about the platform, please reach out and enjoy the podcast. Sparky Coach Pod Part 2 with the big Hib dog. How are you, Hib?
Good, Crow. Happy New Year, by the way. It's good to see
Happy
you,
New
mate.
Year.
Hope you had a good break.
First time I've seen you. How was your fishing? Were you fishing yesterday when I texted you?
Yeah, I was fishing on Sunday. Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, good. It was a nice day on the water. So we've had a bit of a hit and miss weather in Tassie. So the weather's finally come good as I was coming back to work. But yeah, got a nice day in on the water on Sunday. So nothing to complain about.
Did you catch anything?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, caught a fair few flatheads. So it's a nice feed of fish, which is good.
So good. I was I don't know if I told you how that builder about 10 years ago took us on that trip to the Mary River. And so there's crocodiles everywhere. We're fishing for barra. And I don't fish. And I was catching these 1.2 meter threadfin salmons. And I was telling my friends that fish, and they're like, "Oh, that's my dream to do that stuff." But I was literally just casting out and catching stuff. No idea what I was doing besides listening to the guide. And he was like, "Do this at this point." But man, those crocodiles are scary. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, well, in Tassie, we obviously don't have them. So fishing with crocs is next level for sure. But
Yeah, it was wild. I asked the guy, I was like, what size would take me down? And he said about 1.5 meters would be able to rappel me and just get me under. And he's like, what they'll do is they'll drown you with their death roll, and then they will stuff you under a rock where no one knows where it is besides them, and they come back and just nibble at you. And I was just like, oh, it's prehistoric beast.
Sounds like a horrible way to go.
Sounds like a horrible way to go. All right. So talking about goal setting, I've called this podcast Naive, which is the Kooks reference. You're so naive. And I think I say naive to encourage everyone. Business and goals, or goal setting in business, usually takes one of two approaches. It takes the approach where someone sets really high and lofty goals, or it takes the approach where someone just breezes through. And the danger of setting really high and lofty goals is usually they're met with a 1 year plan, and it's usually not all the time, but it can be unachievable or unattainable. So people get deflated, people get distracted, or it's just a goal without a plan is a wish, right? So they set these wishful dreams. I want to do this, this, and this with no sort of plan to attack it. Or that's, even if you had the world's greatest plan, it's impossible. Or the other option is you just she'll be right. I just coast through, no dreams. Yeah, I'll see where the wind takes me, see how the phone rings, see what clients I want to work with, see if I get a staff member or not. So you sort of attract these two people. And it's interesting on the scheme of things. If you've got a fear of success, you set goals in a certain way. If you've got a fear of failure, you set goals in a certain way. If you've got an insecurity or you want to please people, you set goals in a certain way. If you really want to impress people, you will set goals in a certain way. So it's sort of the goal setting matrix comes through a huge filter of is the goal setting, or is the water getting purified through here, or is it getting contaminated? And goal setting can be either a great purification or a great contaminator, depending on the vessel that it runs through. So I wanted to get you on, because I know we spoke the other day, and this is a full testament to the previous coaching company who shan't be named, but I know you sat there in what would have been their 10-week short course 5 years ago, and you set some pretty lofty goals. You would suggest you set some big goals, and I think a lot of people would look back on those lofty goals they set and be like, that was waste of time. And a lot of people, but some people would look back on it and be like, I did it. So you're looking back sort of 5 years down the track and thinking, hey, I did it. So I wanted to get you on to be how do you approach goal setting? What do you think about it? Do you see it in a 5-year realm? Do you see it in a 10-year realm? Do you see it in a 1-year realm? Do you see it in a macro level, micro level? What inspired you to write some things down 5 years ago that you now hit? When did you realize you hit them? Are you writing down stuff for another 5 years? That's like literally 30 questions in one. But
Yeah.
trying to get your head around, like, and I didn't give you much context this podcast when I text you, but like that's the context I'm looking for.
No, so basically it's pretty crazy. So in that short course that I did, I think they were like, write down your 5-year goals, and I did. And most of it become where I am now. Like, so there's something about getting pen to paper and like manifesting that, I think, to and if you reread it and you're journaling, like, journaling every day ideally, but if you're journaling once a week or something and you're rechecking in, you're making sure you're disciplined, you're staying on that pathway. I don't think there'll be anything will stop you from getting there if you really, really want it. The thing is with like the year goals, I think where you're like overset too much, it becomes extremely motivating. So you'll go, yeah, I'm motivated. It's January 1st and I'm going to do this and that and that. And then nothing ever goes to plan, like especially in business. So when those hard times pop up, like Jan, February, March, like you might go away from that and then realize in that 12 months you haven't ended up where you wanted to. I think the most important pathway is to write down your goals or where you want to achieve, and then go, well, what is it going to take me to get there? Highlight the steps to get there, and then what habits are going to be required from you day in, day out, and start building those habits, because not everyone's motivated every day. I wake up, first day back to work this year, I woke up and I was like, fuck, I'd rather go fishing. But I was at work 10 minutes early, like this is what I'm doing. Like you're not always motivated to hit the ground running. So it's just discipline. You got to have those habits in place that'll see you the distance of 5 years. You can't just run on motivation, I don't think. So if you're regularly checking in with yourself, regularly journaling, or at least even just like on this platform, bouncing off each other, catching up with other like-minded people and going, how's it all going? Hey, you know what? I'm a little bit burnt out. I need a little bit of time for me this weekend, or I might take Friday off and then I'll get back rejuvenated and I'll go hard at it again for, another few months. So I think, yeah, definitely write it out, get those habits in place, and and stay disciplined, not motivated.
That's really interesting. I'm just going through. I keep my goals in the same Apple Notes like every year and write it out.
Yeah.
I mean, really interested to see what you do. I have my like overarching. Usually, I have like a word for the year. I'd love to sit on that and pray about that and things like that. And my word last year was organization. When I want to get organized, and one of the big business goals for me last year was to I just wrote one word, make the product sick. Like that's all I wanted to do. Just make the product, the Sparky Coach product, really good. And that's, and on that sort of, I guess you call that a macro goal, it developed all this micro goals, like, well, what do I need to do to build it, change it, adapt it, whatever. And I think, you came on right when I guess we're doing that short course, can't remember what it's called now, the accelerator, and then that led into the spreadsheet, which was about a year ago where it got released. So it wasn't just a spreadsheet; it's like the pathway. And for me, I was like, I'm so proud of what I achieved last year in sort of that, and in making the product sick, like. It's got a hierarchy in there too. It's like, well, here's my 50 things I need to do. What's the priority order of that? And where is my execution time or my discipline time or my on time to sort of build that out? So I like to go on like a big goal and then sort of go, okay, well, what's the most important thing on that trajectory? And then when am I going to do it? How do you sort of work out that for you? Like, do you have like a big goal? It's like, is it a word? Is it a sentence? Is it a paragraph? Is it a page? Like, how do you go about the original way?
Yeah, so as I built the business, it just really depended on where I was going to and what the next goal was. It could have been a revenue target in the smaller days, building it to a certain team size, or it could have been like the previous 12 months purchasing of our own warehouse and moving into that facility, and where do we need to get to achieve these goals. So do I need 2 more staff? Do I need to refine and get better profit margins? Do we need to attain new clients? So it was always just like a growing factor. So if I wanted to get to a revenue target, I'd be like, look, and that's not the best goal to have. You need to get there also naturally. You can't just start upping your pricing for everyone just because you want to get to a revenue target. I'm not saying go about it in a poor manner, but if you have these type goals, then you can sort of, as you were saying, set down from that. So like if you could go, I want to get a warehouse the next 12 months, but there's 20 things that need to go into that for you to get that warehouse. So it gives you a good outline of what you need to do for the next 12 months to get to that point. So that could be more team size, that could be cutting overhead costs, it could be many different things that you need to start doing and implementing to achieve that.
Yeah, the revenue target one's really interesting, isn't it? Because it's like on the left to right matrix of a closed month, you're talking about revenue, then you've got your sort of like cost of sales, then you've got your gross profit, then you've got your cost of operations, your operating expenses, then you've got your net profit. So on the left to right matrix of like a revenue target, if you combine, you want to hit $1 million revenue, 2 million, 5 million, it's like, well, that comes with some parameters, like, well, how many staff do I need to achieve that? I can't just charge the next person $1 million for their job and hit my target. And I want to get my 20 to 35% net across here with my market wage. So it's like, sometimes it's by writing something down and then you work out a plan of attack to achieve it. And then you can sort of go like, well, is it achievable? Like what kind of stuff, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of stuff did you write down 5 years ago that you're sort of reflecting on and being like, oh, I hit that? Like, and did you revisit that year on year? How did you go about that?
I didn't revisit it year on year, but it was subjectively always in my mind, and I wanted to build freedom to travel, to fish, to dive, still be involved in the business, but essentially freedom to do what you want sort of day in, day out. Yes, there's days you have to come to work, but if you're a business owner and you can duck off for a couple of days camping with the family or fishing or diving, or you can go traveling for a couple of weeks here and there to another country and it's not going to be the be all and end all, that was the major goal for me. So I knew where I wanted to go, and that I never ever lost sight of it. So I would just take the business needs this now to be, for me to have more freedom.
When you went about writing like last year to buy a commercial property, how long was that on your mind for? Like years, and how much setup work was there, and how much did you have to sort of like dial into that? Like what?
Yeah. I think there's a comfortability thing there. So we probably could have just upped and bought one, but I rented one to start. When I knew I wanted a warehouse, I rented one to start with. And then we were in there for 12 months, and then I finally purchased our own, and we moved in within a month, and couldn't have worked out any better, really. There was like a 2-week sort of handover period where I was paying for both workshops, but probably should have done it 12 months sooner, but I knew it was something we wanted to work to. So I was like, just so I can make sure I can afford the repayments and that, I'll rent for 12 months. But I backed myself in. It was very hard to get someone to sign a 12-month lease on a workshop. Everyone wanted like 3 to 5 years. And I was like, no, I'm going to buy one in 12 months, like in under 12 months. So I backed myself into that. I knew that the goal was that I'd set for myself was achievable. And I just, we just went for it from there. And if we didn't, our landlord was pretty good. He would have extended to me for 1, 2, 3 years, whatever I wanted, because we paid our rent on time every time, and we looked after his warehouse for him. So
Yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? Because you buy it sooner, and then if you put yourself under too much financial stress, it's it's rarely a good thing. I would suggest, but you can also, the flip side of that is kind of what we started the podcast with. If you don't put yourself under any stress ever, stress is where you grow in like good stress. There's good stress and there's negative stress. And a good stress is like, and you see it all the time with people living with a new weight, whether it's a new baby, new commercial warehouse, new mortgage payment, new staff member, new workload. See it in new weight. It's like it's not a bad stress. It can be really healthy, but there's a point of like if you went through 5 extra staff at most people, that's too much stress for them to carry, too much financial burden, too much workload to produce, too much training to do. Like there's a point of stress where it becomes sort of unattainable, unachievable, too heavy. How do you recognize? Is that something you think about? Because obviously your years in business and just your sort of like life acumen, business acumen, you can make some really good decisions and really big decisions quite quickly because you sort of seen things and seen like how do you gauge the stress versus reward?
I do have a bit of a habit of sometimes biting off more than I can chew. And then I realise when I'm in it that this is actually quite stressful now. I think when you do it, and there is times where you will do that, like it's just a natural part of business, I think. Like there is times where you're going to have to take a big step. And I'm not saying it's not calculated. You wouldn't employ 5 people at once. Like that's stupid. Like, so you wouldn't make a stupid decision, but buying a warehouse or something like that it's not something that comes comfortably or naturally to you. So I think it's just like sometimes you do have to bite that bullet of going, okay, I do need to do this and I've got to bite off a little bit more than I can chew here. But it's just having those habits also built around. So that's what I was saying, like it's important to write down what you need to do to develop yourself. So if you're already going through what helps you deal with stress? Well, I drink less alcohol, I have a good diet, I exercise. Like if you're going through you're coming up to a stressful time, you should be exercising, meditating, journaling, doing stuff for yourself that's going to help you handle that stress and bring that stress load level back down to a manageable level. Whereas there is the alternative to that where people have bad habits and they might drink more, party more, try and switch off on weekends by consuming too much alcohol, and it gets in a bit of a toxic cycle if that's how you deal with stress management.
That's so interesting, isn't it? You feel like work because you see a lot of times when people come through the ranks and in business or spark coach or whatever, and their first hire is like the biggest thing in the world. And I don't want to discount that because everyone's first hire is a huge play, right? Like, how am I going to afford this wage? Like, do I have enough work? What do I do? Like, how do I log them on to Zero? How do I get them in my job management software? Like, do they need sign writing on the van? Do I have a van? Do I have the tools? How many Zito tools do I need to purchase? Like, there's so much like noise. And then you do it and you're like, oh, I was actually, it's pretty simple. Like nowadays, I just encourage people, buy for 2, sell for 4. That's the plan, right? Buy for $2,000, sell for $4,000, or, $2,000 plus obviously operating expense. Maybe it's buy for 3, sell for 4, whatever. There's got to be a margin there for the business. It's a pretty simple calculation if you've got the work and it's the right person. So it's like, it's business is almost the incremental effect of the compound interest or compound decision interest, you might say. So decisions that you used to think about a lot, sweat a lot, and now just sort of, I'm not going to say common sense, but maybe they're easily recognizable what a good decision is. But it's always putting yourself, you always tend to be in that next stage of development, decision making. And it's so right what you say. And I think the more people grow in business, I'd say there's almost a ratio of self-care associated with that. Would you agree with that, or have, like obviously you said it before, but like it's going to the gym or doing Pilates or going surfing or going fishing, or there's all this kind of stuff that comes with running a business. Anyone hyper successful is probably looking after themselves to some extent or on a pathway to looking after themselves. So here, moving into this year, like what would you encourage? Obviously you run our sub-million club, anyone less than $1 million revenue, you sort of like look after them like a mother goose or a father goose, like a hen nesting the eggs. What would you say to them, or not just them, but to anyone setting goals? Like what encouragement do you have, or how would you go about setting goals? And if they're sort of new to it, or they set big lofty ones, or they haven't pushed themselves hard enough, what's your sort of advice for someone in setting goals?
Something about getting pen to paper. Don't write it down on your phone. Like it seems to just come out of your head better. And you feel like bit silly when you first get started, but if you can get pen to paper just on a notepad and get your thoughts out about the business, about the personal goals, what you want, and then you can go from there. Like we're obviously very business orientated, so we want to grow and we want to achieve different business goals, but someone else's business goals might be um, more family time because they're doing 60 hours a week. They might not necessarily want to grow, but write down what's going to get you to pull those hours back. And then you might realize, okay, I do need another tradesman and I do need another apprentice and an admin, for example. So you know, okay, now I need to hire these people to pull my hours back from 60 hours a week to 40 hours a week. So I get my family time back. So that you can definitely correlate the personal and business goals together. And you really, when you write, you can sit down and write out business goals all you want, but you might not want the staff size of 15, 20, 30 people. So you need to really reflect on that. And you pulled me up probably 2 months ago. And when I was quoting a few projects and you're like, hey, where are you going? Like, do you want another 10 guys? And I was like, no, not really. And you're like, refine and double down. But I just needed that reality check. And I hadn't really journaled it out at that point. And then once I had, I went behind, journaled it out, and was like, no, I don't want too many more staff. Like, I'm happy and content where it's at. So I think if you're regularly checking in with yourself, especially pen to paper, getting your thoughts out of your head, you're going to have a clear destination and where you want to go. And if that's 5 star for more family time and going to the beach, then that's all you want. You don't need to go past that.
Yeah, I just finished the first pod of this, and I was sort of just encouraging people to set some goals and then work out a plan, and then you reflect on it, and then you keep it, stop it, change it. So I love what you just said. It's like you had a plan to get to 10 staff this year, 5 staff. 10 staff, you might look at it and be like, oh, I'm going to have to hire an operations manager, in June, July. So you're almost sort of setting your year up without even sort of realizing it. This is so comparable. It's like looking at plans, like an RCP. It's like looking at RCP and you're looking at plans, you've quoted this job and you get to the job and you sort of know how you're going to attack it because you've been staring at these plans for so long. Anyone that's ever quoted a job and you turn up and you're like, that's where the core hole is, that's where I put cable tray, that's where the board's going to go, that's where the subboard's going to go, this is the pathway for the data, all this kind of stuff, because you've seen it before. You might not have seen the 3D version, you've seen the 2D version. Well, actually, these days you've probably seen the 3D version, but you're sort of going somewhere that you've been before in your head, and I think that's the most important thing. What you're saying about writing it down, putting it down, and what I love about our pathway in Sparky Coach is when we close a week and close a month, you've got that built-in reflection time. When you close a month, it's like there's only so many components that can go wrong to make a bad month, or that can go good to create a good month. You don't have that many moving parts. And then pulling it back to close a week, there's probably 15 components, whether it's closed jobs, net profit, open jobs, net profit, labor efficiency, quoting, invoicing, workload, schedule, staff, culture. There's maybe a couple more, but like there's not that many moving parts really. So it's like I think that the most dangerous thing is writing something down and setting and forgetting it. And it's like we need to set that time aside to stop, collaborate, and listen, as Vanilla Ice says, to reflect. And I love what you said about discipline. I've got 2 people in the past week have told me I'm really disciplined. It's not something I've ever really considered. It's something that I sort of do. How do you approach discipline? Like, is it something that you're like, I will do this? Is it like, how do you, is it something you think about? Or is it something that if you set your mind as like, no, I'm on? Like, how do you?
The discipline's a habit that is formed. So with everything, you've got to be disciplined, I feel. So like, if you tell yourself you're going to do something, there's no cop out. If you say, set your alarm for a time, you get up. Like, it's just get up. Like, you tell yourself you're going to go to the gym, you do it. You tell yourself you're going to do a run, you do it. So in every form of your life, I feel like it's just repeating what you tell yourself you're going to do. So otherwise, if you renege on that, then you're going to start reneging on your goals. You're not going to achieve your business goals, your personal goals. So once it's just, you just follow the pathway that you've set out for yourself, no matter whether you feel like it or not. Like, and that's generally how I go about it.
Well, that's sort of life in a way as well, right? Like you're not always going to be able to do the things you want to do. Like I don't want to get up and do Pilates at 6 some mornings. Some mornings I'm frothing, and some mornings I'm like, get away from me. So it's really interesting. But discipline and consistency are huge traits. I guess they're not too dissimilar in their outworking. But if you can be disciplined and consistent with the non-negotiable things, and I think that's where the coaching industry has an interesting dynamic where there's lots of good and noble conversations. Even like open Spotify now and go on YouTube. There's so much good information you can absorb, but it's not necessarily all non-negotiable or applicable to. And it's even the discipline to recognize that. Like I got this noise. What's noise and what's non-negotiable? Like what's just a distraction and is it distracting to the direction that I'm heading in? And by writing things out, you can really achieve that. So no, I absolutely love that. And what's one thing personally that, is there something personally you've set this year? Like I want to fish more, I want to travel more. Is there something that inspires you this year in the personal sense?
Still sense it's always probably, fishing and diving more and maybe a little bit more travel. But in that sense, in reality, this year I want to really refine the business. So it might mean a little bit less travel, a little bit more fishing and diving local to home. But I really, really want to. I'm happy with our size at the moment, but I just want to keep refining and perfect the business to a degree. So we've got a really good crew, we're at a really good stage. It's an exciting time of business. If I go away for 3 to 4 months, that sort of could rock the boat a little bit. So I just want to this year really knuckle down, refine everything, upskill a few more people, and then in a few more years we'll be really, really firing to hopefully get more, like step away a fair bit and have a fair bit of freedom. So
That's so good. I'll finish with 2 things. What's the best fish you've ever caught? Doesn't have to be the biggest, but what's your most memorable catch?
would be a barrel, like a large bluefin tuna. It didn't tip it would have been about even 90 kilos. It wouldn't have tipped 100, but it was a big fish. But yeah, that was a highlight because they can be hard to get onto. So yeah, it was nice to catch barrel. So yeah.
How long? What's the forgive my terminology. What's the reel-in time on that? Like,
That was a quick one because the seals brought it up to the top. So normally on a fish like that, it probably takes 3-4 hours. And the really big ones, some people on for like 8 hours. Like it's exhausting, it's draining. Like some people tap out and rotate and swap, and then you get like people like me that are extremely stubborn that will be locked into that for 8 hours. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. um, but mine come up in about an hour, I reckon, because the seals attacked it. So then I'll stop swimming and I'll bring it up to the surface, and then it's a battle between you and the seals to get the fish on the boat, basically. So,
so lots of people think your gym discipline is about the body, but it's about fishing, which is reeling the big fish.
I get to the weekend and it's no gym, it's all fishing and diving. So.
Body work, nice. And if you had, in wrapping the pod up, if you had one opportunity to help someone with goal setting, or to inspire someone, or to challenge someone, or all of the above, what would you say?
Don't make it. Don't overset, but don't make it too easy for you to achieve it. I think people get stuck in being comfortable and they make their goal easy to achieve. So you don't want to be unrealistic, but it needs to be hard. And if you don't achieve the hard goal, but you get 90% of the way there, 90% of the way there is better than where you were going to finish up anyway if you set a really easy goal for yourself. So
That's so cool. I've got something to build, and I was thinking it would take me. I gave myself a year to do it. Like, I want to do this, execute this within a year, and it's decent what I'm building. And then I was like, someone challenged me to shorten the time frame, and I'm like, what? Why? Like, why is it taking that long? And I was like, that's a really good point. So I brought it back to March 1 for an April 1 implementation. And it was so good to challenge it, because I'm like, why do I need a year? Like a year of 2 hours? Why don't I just put 4 to 5 hours a week into that and shorten the timeline, make the product better? You know, it was so interesting. So I love that. And I think that's where a group doesn't have to be group coaching. That's where a group or a friendship group comes into it, or a good partner or a family, to come and just be like, hey, do you reckon that's too optimistic? Hey, do you reckon that's not optimistic enough? And once again, it's going through all those filters of the self filters of self-doubt, of self-belief, of toxic optimism, of like not optimistic enough. There's so many factors in there. So thank you, Hib. What a blessing you are to our community. And thanks for your time again. And we'll see, I'll actually see you in half an hour, 40 minutes. So thanks heaps. See you soon.
Same.
That's a wrap on another podcast. Whatever you're doing, don't be too busy to stop and check if you're making money. And above all else, you know the rules, be kind. See you soon.